Yeah, it's connecting right now.
Okay, okay, already connected, I see. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Dr. Fariza, you here? Okay, I need to off. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Fariza.
Assalamualaikum, Azura.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah. I thought, how come you look? Okay, look much better now. I hope I don't know how dusty my room is. That's why I wanted to go to PG room just now.
The PG is actually open. So where is that?
I see. Okay.
Do you want to go down?
No, I think this is good. I can use the cable in my room. I was just concerned if I had this from my own house. I think the Zoom will be quite disconnected often. Google Meet is fine.
Yeah, technology is a nuisance. That's all I can say. Okay, we are actually live on Zoom and live on YouTube as well. So we'll just wait for a few more minutes for a few more people to come in.
Okay, sure. I'll be switching the back and forth of Microsoft Excel and the slide, so I think it should be okay with Zoom.
Yeah, literature synthesis matrix, not easy, but very useful.
It is, it is. It helped me a lot during my student days.
Is it time? Yeah, it's 10:30, so I think we will start the session. Muhib, you're recording, right?
Okay, let me
Yes,
try.
doctor. Yes, doctor. You also can record, no problem.
Yeah, but it's already stated that it's recording. Is it recorded?
Okay. No,
Uh,
it's recording
it is, it
for
is.
me, and you also can record in your
Okay.
device, no problem.
All right, thank you. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are very fortunate today that we have Dr. Nofariza, who's going to be talking about literature synthesis matrix. That's the wrong way to start. Let's start by reciting Al-Fatiha first. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. As I was saying, we are very fortunate that we have Dr. Nofariza, who's going to be talking about using a very, well, I would say complicated, but it is a very useful tool, which is the literature synthesis matrix. If you remember in the previous series, we have Associate Professor Dr. Mustafa Omar, who was talking about literature synthesis matrix. This is a tool that is very useful for you to be using, especially when you are writing your literature review and to identify the gap that you want to have. It's a very, I would say it's a very useful tool if you know how to use it and if you can use it well. It's not something that you can just do one time and then it will work for you. No, it does take time for you to do it, but if you are patient enough to be able to do it, you can do it, and you can do this literature review. Literature review is the cornerstone or the heart of any research because it will help you to identify the gap in the previous research. It will help to basically build a framework on what research you are doing, why you're doing that research, and it will help you in so many ways. And quite to be honest, a lot of students have problem on literature review. Okay, so let's see how you can use literature synthesis matrix to help you. So I will pass the mic to Dr. Nofariza, who's going to be talking about her own practical and applied say experience in using literature synthesis matrix. Okay, Fariza, it's all up to you. Then thank you very much for doing this. I'm allowing you to share the screen now.
Okay, let me try to share the screen. Okay, are you able to see my slide? Okay, let me try to put it on presentation mode. Okay, hold on. Okay, I wanted it to be in a presentation mode so that I can use the laser pointer. You can see the screen, but it is not in presentation mode just yet, right?
No.
Okay, let me see. Why is that?
It's technology. What else can you say?
Yeah, it is quite slow despite I'm using cable from my room.
You can click F5 for shortcut. F5 shortcut.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about her own practical and
Maybe it's working slowly. So Need to wait for a while.
Mm. Okay, hold on. Now I cannot click anything. Okay, hold on. Oh, because my Camtasia is interrupting. Okay, it should be okay now. Okay, you can see it already, right?
Yes, doctor, we can see.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, I forgot I have that Camtasia there. Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, thank you not only to Dr. Azura, but as well as I can see Dr. Mom is also present this morning. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so thank you as well to the Postgraduate Student Society as well as those who are joining this morning. All right. Okay, so basically this synthesis matrix, okay, how do I came across it is actually during my at the end of my first year. Okay, so back then we still have our PG room down there. Okay, I think next to SR 1.3, I think. So on that day, okay, so I came to PG room. So my senior is already in the PG room. So since my place was at the back of PG room, so I get to see her first. So I greet her, and then I saw, okay, this Excel full with words, okay, on her laptop. She was working on it. So because since I'm quite used to seeing Microsoft Excel full with digits and numbers, okay, on my senior's laptop, but this one is full with words and phrase. So I was curious, what is it? So I asked my senior, and she told me that it's a synthesis matrix, and she used it for what? Okay, so that's how I use. Okay, I start using synthesis matrix. Okay, and it has been very, very helpful. Okay, in my study, especially when I at one point I was lost because suddenly I do not know what my construct is. Okay, we will see about that later on. Okay, let's see what the content, okay, of topic that we're going to be having today. All right, so we are going to see what actually is in the matrix, okay, and then when we go to customizing your own synthesis matrix, because each one of you have your unique research topic. Okay, so that means each one of you should have slightly different synthesis matrix. Okay, things that you are things that you're going to be looking at, okay, things that are going to be of your interest, things that you might be searching more compared to your friends. Okay, it's going to be different because everybody has their own unique, okay, research area. Okay, and then from there, okay, I will show how can you find research gaps, okay, by using your synthesis matrix. Okay, and then as well as how are you going to define construct, especially in my case just now, I suddenly lost. Okay, I suddenly cannot tell what my construct is, what is my IV actually. Okay, and then towards the end, okay, we are going to see, okay, what does it mean to synthesize literature. Okay, so there will going to be some example later on for you to see whether can you tell whether this paragraph is a synthesized literature or not. All right. Okay, let's see the first topic. What is synthesis matrix? Okay, so actually it is a chart, okay, that help researcher to organize, sort and categorize literature. Okay, so when you are doing your study, okay, so you are going to have tons of journals, okay, lots of articles, okay, that you're going to read, okay, and you are going to highlight, so you are going to take notes here and there. So it is good if you have a place, okay, where you can keep everything in one place. Okay, all the bits and pieces, all the excerpts, all the statements that you find important, okay, before you can actually start writing your literature review, you should have all these materials, all these evidence at one place. Okay, yes, different people have different way of arranging things. Okay, okay, you might also have, I mean, different way of learning as well. But what if you can have a tool, okay, for you to keep everything in one place. Okay, so if let's say you would like to know more about this synthesis matrix, okay, some are the other names, okay, that you might find over the internet. Okay, some people call it literature matrix. Okay, it's also called research matrix. Okay, if you would like to know more. All right. Okay, so when it comes to which software works best for success metrics, okay, although some people might say, okay, certain specialized software like Atlas TI perhaps, okay, might be useful as well to do synthesis matrix because it can detect themes, okay. But when it comes to the practicality, okay, when it comes to the usability of this synthesis matrix, if you would like, okay, to use it in any PC, it is best to use Microsoft Excel. Okay, because all laptops, all PC, okay, has it. Okay, I mean, just how many people, okay, have Atlas TI or certain specialist software like that, okay, in their laptop, okay, in their device. Okay, so not only that, okay, I mean, apart from what, okay, that it is available, I mean, across, okay, many platforms, okay. So if you can also do synthesis matrix in Microsoft Word, but, okay, there are going to be a number of limitation, okay, in Microsoft Word because, okay, unlike in Microsoft Excel, okay, you can have only limited numbers of columns, rows, and sheets, okay, in Microsoft Word, okay, as compared in Microsoft Excel, okay, you can add as many columns and rows as you want as you progress further in your readings, okay. And then in terms of function, okay, so in Microsoft Excel, I will show to you later on, okay, what does it mean by how you can use the filter and the freeze pane, okay, features in Microsoft Excel that will help you a lot more when it comes to using synthesis matrix, okay. And then, okay, so in terms of storage, okay, so Microsoft Excel, you can upload in Google Drive, okay, and you can also edit it further, okay, online, okay, using Google Sheet. So these features are very important because these days, okay, due to the advancement of technology and since we have so many means, okay, to I mean have our cloud storage, okay, it is not acceptable for you to say that your computer crash or your laptop just shut down, okay, suddenly and you lost everything. Okay, so that kind of excuses is actually no longer acceptable these days. Okay, and you also do not want to wait for that to happen, okay, before you actually do some backup. And in the first place, it will take you a lot of time actually to do this synthesis matrix. So you don't want to lose, okay, the time that you have spent on it. Okay, so you have to take the precautions. Okay, it is fine if let's say you are much more comfortable, just like me, I'm also much more comfortable with Excel compared to Google Sheet, but you always constantly uploading, okay, after you have done certain changes, okay, in your Microsoft Excel. Or even better, if you can find a way to synchronize, okay, whatever changes that you have done in the Microsoft Excel in your laptop, okay, to the Microsoft Excel uploaded in a cloud storage. Okay, back then when I was a student, we have Dropbox. Okay, so back then, okay, I have one, okay, my synthesis matrix in my laptop, and the similar synthesis matrix is also in my Dropbox. So whatever changes that I made, okay, in my laptop, okay, the similar changes will appear in the synthesis matrix in my Dropbox. Okay, that was back then. Okay, now Dropbox has been discontinued because now we have much more advanced, okay, cloud storage system. So I leave it to you, okay, find out on your own how can you synchronize, okay, whatever things that you have in your laptop with any cloud storage of your choice. Okay, okay, let's see further. Okay, so before I actually show you how what this message looks like, okay, so these are the things that you should have, okay. So the main features, okay, that your synthesis matrix should have is you should have the sources or the author's name on the left side of the chart, okay, and then you should have the themes or the main points, or you can also say the main attributes, okay, of every journals, okay, on top of the chart, okay. So we will see after this how does it look like. Okay. So let me just show to you. Okay. So this is how it looks like. Okay. So this, okay, left side here, okay, is the sources or the authors, okay, of the journals that you have collected or you have read. Okay. And on the top part here is what I call just now the themes, okay, or the main attributes, okay, of all journals that you have collected. Okay, so actually the column is further extended, but because I would like to fit it into this slide, so I just hide certain columns. So I just make it, feasible for you to see by putting only this much column. But actually, it is longer than this. Okay, there are many more columns in between. Okay, so As you can see here, okay, just now when I mentioned about, the sources should be on one side and the top, okay, here it should comprise of your themes, okay. You're going to find when you do a search in internet, some people, they put the sources, okay, of the papers here, okay, and then the attributes of the journals or the theme over here. It's like a reverse. Okay, some people do it that way, but if you were to use this Microsoft Excel in Microsoft Excel, and if you were to use the filter function later on, this is the base layout, because I don't think that you can filter from this side. Okay, you can only filter from top to bottom. Okay, I don't think you can do it sideways. Okay, the filter function. So that is why if you were to use filter as well, okay, especially when you would like to filter, okay, the type of journal that you have, okay, it is best to have this layout. All right. Okay. So let me just go back. Okay, finish the slide previously. Okay. So these are the things. Okay, the themes, the main attribute that you should have on the top of your synthesis matrix. Okay. So just now, okay, you must be able to classify, okay, your journals according to type. Let's say, for example, either they are empirical or non-empirical paper. Okay, you can also classify as either they are quantitative or qualitative paper. Okay, you can also let's say put it as a either they are conceptual paper. If you happen to find, okay, meta-analytic paper, that is even better. Okay, because meta-analytic paper means, okay, it is a paper, it's like a review of over 20 or 25 years, okay, about your construct. So that kind of paper we give you an insight, okay, how the construct started, okay, what has been researched about it, okay, what is yet to be researched about it, what are the critics and whatnot. So it will give you a very good, okay, overview, okay, a very critical, okay, review as well about the construct of your choice. Okay, and then maybe, okay, you also have some special issues paper. Okay, this is more like a conceptual paper. Okay, so these are the types of journal that you might be able to classify, okay, in your synthesis matrix. Okay, next, okay, the author's name and year. Okay, so okay, over here, okay, what I write like this, okay, so author's name and year, okay, when it comes to the seminal authors in your area, okay, you will not know instantly, okay, who are the seminal authors in your area. Okay, so by having this synthesis matrix, okay, when you put it in the column like this, you put the name and the year like this, okay, as you have more and more journals, okay, it will help you to identify who are the seminal authors. Okay, seminal authors means, okay, the authors where their name is frequently cited by the other researchers in your area. Okay, so for example, in my area, okay, job quality was my area of study. This is one of the seminal authors. Okay, Munoz de Bustillo et al. Okay, so that is why, okay, because you will not know the name instantly, okay, only after reading a number of papers, only then you will know. Okay, so by having it in, okay, by having it visible like this, it is easy for you to detect, okay, their names later on. Okay. Okay, keywords. This is also important. Okay, why you should also have, okay, a column about keywords. Okay, because correct keywords will keep you focused in your area. Okay, let's say here these are the keywords. Okay, some of it I think I forgot to copy paste from the journal. Okay, because as you would like to gather more articles, okay, for your area. Okay, so sometimes you might be deviated, okay, to areas that are actually not your interest, but you do not know if you happen, okay, if you accidentally use the wrong keywords. Let's say, okay, for example, okay, I would like to know about job quality, okay, and then let's say if I'm not careful, okay, I might also be using the keyword of employment quality, because I think, okay, having a job means you are employed. So it's like job quality, that means can be equal to employment quality. I thought it is the same because literally it sounds the same. But actually, as I dig further in my literature review, it is not the same. It is not. Okay, I will show to you later on. Okay, why job quality and employment quality is actually different. Okay, so that's why you have to be very careful. So by having your keywords in the column, it will help you a lot to stay focused, okay, in your research area. And not only that, okay, it will also help you to see, okay, in the correct collection of journals that you have, what are the different, okay, keywords, okay, that other researchers are using, okay. Okay, limited. Okay, findings. Okay, so this can be the result or the main insights of the paper. Okay, so it's like what the paper is all about. Okay, and then for the limitation suggestion, so this is the start. Okay, for you to find the research gaps. Okay, so usually towards the end of a journal or towards the end of a paper, okay, you're going to see, okay, paragraphs, okay, about what are the future research, okay, that can be done with regards to that area. Okay, so that's why it is good for you to have. Okay, that's why this column is a must for you. Okay, so for each types of paper, okay, you can just copy paste, okay, whatever that you found in that paper over here so that you can see. Okay, so that you can see in this paper what are the gaps, and next paper how do they address the gaps and whatnot. Okay, okay, another important column, okay, sorry, another important column here is journals to hand. Okay, so over here, okay, if you look, okay, over here, okay, let me just move this a bit. Okay, so this column is important because as you are reading the papers, okay, you are going to find some citation. Okay, so the author is citing other researchers with regard to certain theories. So they are mentioning it in their own words. So perhaps you need to go and find the actual journal for you to read and understand it from your own perspective. Okay, especially when you would like to rephrase, okay, the main ideas, okay. So it's better for you to have the understanding on your own. Okay, so that's why it's very important for you, okay, to have this column so that you can check, okay, you can do like a snowballing, go and find the source of that paper, okay, from the references of that journal, you put it here, and then later on you go and find it. Okay, for example, for theories, okay, and not only that, okay, so when it comes to quantitative research, for instance, okay, when you need to find the original measurement scale for your questionnaires, okay, so this one, okay, I would like to highlight one thing. Okay, so all this while when I become the examiners, okay, for your thesis, for your proposal defense, okay, I found that a number of students, okay, when you are citing, okay, the source of your questionnaire, okay, the source of your measurement item, you tend to cite, okay, the name of the authors who use that measurement scale, not the author who actually developed the scale. So that is wrong. Okay, so you must cite, okay, the name of the original authors, not the one who used it. That is one. Okay, the reason why you need to find, okay, when you need to have this column so that you go and find, okay, the correct, okay, author who actually developed that measurement scale. Okay, number two, okay, when it comes to measurement scale, I also find that, okay, students tend to do what we call cherry picking. Okay, let's say you have, okay, your construct, let's say you have your IV, and then you go and find, okay, some, okay, measurement scale that can measure that IV, and then from all those different measurement scales, you just pick, okay, those measurement questions that you find suitable for your research, and then call that your questionnaire. Let's say you have 4 measurement scales. You take 3 from this author, you take 2 questions from the second author, you take another 5 questions from the third author, and so on. And then you call that the scale that you use for your PhD, for your research. That is wrong because different measurement scales has different Cronbach alpha value has different reliability score. So if you are using a lot of different measurement scale, what happened to the reliability score just now? And you also cannot use, okay, the reliability score that you get from the pilot study to say that is, okay, the Cronbach alpha value of your measurement scale. You cannot, that is wrong. Okay, so since we had the chance to have this Zoom session, I just mention it out to you so you don't make that kind of mistake. All right. Okay, so just now, okay, so all right, okay, what I mean by you can add more themes here is that, okay, so this top part over here, okay, this theme that you see over here, okay, do not expect yourself to be able to come up with a lot of columns in one night. It will not happen that way. Okay, you also not going to be able to have a very extensive, okay, number of columns or themes up here after reading only one journal. No. Okay, so you will add more as you read more, okay, with regards to your area. Okay, so in terms of you see, okay, there are some okay, blank cells, okay, over here, okay, in your thesis matrix. That is totally fine because each journal, okay, has different things that they will highlight. So it is totally fine if you have some blank spaces, okay, if you cannot I mean put it, okay, in your thesis matrix, that is fine. Okay, as long as the blank space is not too many. Okay, so for example, since this is the seminal authors in my area, all the cells are full. Okay, just to illustrate to you. Okay, so in terms of the further tips when you are customizing your census matrix, okay, so later on after this I'm going to switch to Microsoft Excel to show to you what do I mean, okay, when if you can use the freeze pane, okay, to freeze the top row, the themes just now, and then how you can use filter function, okay, for to filter according to the types of papers, okay. When it comes to using colors and highlights, okay, so this one depends on you, okay, how do you learn or how you make sense of things, okay. You may color certain sentences or you might also color the entire cell, okay, if it has certain meanings to you, okay, you can use also highlights, okay, and you can also use this insert comment. Okay, let's say you can we show to you afterwards what do I mean. Okay, insert comment is for you, let's say you have certain thinking or certain thoughts if you copy paste, okay, that particular statement into your census matrix, okay, and you don't want to lose that insight that you have during that time. So you can use the insert comment function, okay, features for you to have a record of that thoughts during that time. Okay, all right. Okay, now let me just escape this slide so that I can now show share to you my Microsoft Excel. All right, you can see it, right? Okay, so this is the actual systematic that I use. Okay, so I have this, okay, in my left side of the chart, okay, of my thesis matrix, and these are the columns. Okay, you see how many columns that I have. Okay, so actually, I think I just hide the some panels last night. Let me try. It's actually longer than that. Okay, so that's what I mean just now. Okay, all that you see up here, okay, you are not going to be able to do it overnight. Okay, so as you read, you are going to find certain themes that you might find it useful to have it, okay, in your journal. Maybe it's about the theories, maybe it's about the I mean your mediator or whatnot. Okay, so here, okay, okay, let me make it a bit bigger, I think. All right. So just now when I mentioned to you the word, I mean freeze pane, this is what I mean, yeah. Okay, freeze pane means you would like to keep, okay, this particular top part here not moving when you are scrolling, because if you didn't do it, you see, you lost, okay, that top part. Okay, so if you, okay, freeze pane is like this. Okay, you go here and then you freeze the top row. Okay, sorry, that one is not the one, not that. I think this one. I have to unfreeze it first so that I can show it to you. Okay, it's not freezing. Okay, hold on, yeah. Okay, now I know because, okay, you actually have to delete is, I mean, because it cannot detect which one is your.
You can click on 2005 and then.
See, now it's working. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you see? All right. So this is what I mean by using freeze frame, because as you are scrolling, when you have more stuff inside, okay, this top part, okay, doesn't move, because when you have lots of columns, it's going to be easy. You are going to find yourself, I mean, in the situation where you don't know which cell is referring to what. So that's why it's important for you to use the freeze frame. Okay. So this filter, okay, is for you to filter according to, okay, whether you would like to see empirical or non-empirical is up to you. Okay, depending on what category that you have. Okay, for you to see. Say that. Okay, with regards to the tips, okay, one very important tip that I would like to mention to you is that, okay, whenever you copy paste, okay, from the journals into this matrix, please make sure that you put the page number. Okay, this might sound petty, but this actually will save you lots of time later on, because when it comes to what you have copy paste into research matrix, okay, sometimes when you would like to revisit the statement again, okay, if you were to use to just use what we call the just control F function, there might be certain words that are also going to appear in other parts of the text, but you are looking for that specific sentence. Okay, that's why it is important for you to always, okay, indicate, to always also put the page number. Where do you get this statement or excerpt from? Okay, and also you sometimes have to read, okay, the paragraphs or even the entire page, okay, before you get to see these statements, for you to really understand it again, why you think this statement is important, or I mean, it makes sense to you during that time. Okay, so that is why. Okay, so next, okay, so just for me to show to you how does it looks like. Okay, so basically in your decision matrix, you are going to keep this one sheet, okay, as the master list. So everything, okay, that you found, okay, you put it here. You later on, okay, you are going to use different sheet depending on your needs, okay, that what you would like to write during that time. Okay. Okay, so now, okay, so if any of you ask me, okay, so how, I mean, are you going to do, okay, this is symmetric, is it for all journals that you have? If possible, okay, if you have the time, please do it. But if you cannot, okay, at least please do the symmetrics for the seminal authors or the important journals that you constantly refers to, okay? So this actually, this yellow color that you see here is actually the ones, okay, the important journal that I actually constantly refer in my paper, in my study actually. So it's up to you how you would like to, color code it. Okay, so just now, the insert comment that I mentioned to you is like this. Okay, so if you do an insert comment, it will appear something like this. Okay, you just like go to insert, you can just right click, okay, on the cell, and then you just insert comment. Okay, after you have typed it, okay, it will appear in the form of like a small triangle, red triangle, and when you move your cursor over it, you get to see what you have typed before. So this is your thoughts, okay, your thinking process that happened, okay, when you decided to put this statement into this matrix. That must have meant something to you, and since you don't want to lose that thought, you better capture it this way. So this is much better than jotting it down elsewhere and you lost that piece of paper or you lost that notebook. Okay, God knows, okay, things might happen. All right. Okay, now, okay, let us see, okay, how are you going to use the census matrix to select the search gap? Okay, so this is the 3 steps that I find it useful, and this is how I do it before. Okay, so in your census matrix, okay, you ensure that all sentence that points to a search gap, okay, are highlighted in red or in whatever color that you like. Okay, it's up to you, because sometimes in certain journal, okay, the research gap are discussed not towards the end of the paper. Okay, sometimes in the conceptual paper, it can be elsewhere. It can be like at the start or maybe even in the middle of the journal. So it depends on how critically you are reading the paper. Okay, next. Okay, so after you are done, okay, with filling up of the synthesis matrix, okay, so you copy the master list just now into a new sheet and label it as suggested gap. Okay, something like this. Okay, let's say this is your master list. Okay, so you have a number of things. Okay, so so those in red, okay, actually refer to the gaps. Okay, so you just copy the entire master list, okay, and into a new sheet. It's just that this time, okay, you actually eliminate, okay, everything else except those cells that contain evidence about the research gap. Okay, because whatever you do, you don't want to lose, okay, this master list where everything is there. Okay, so from here, okay, so you can just label whatever names that you would like. Okay, so here, okay, based on all the cells that contain, okay, the research gap or evidence of research gap, okay, from all of these sources, okay, so you read all of this, okay, and then you try to see whether you can group, okay, all those research gap, okay, into certain groups, okay, together with its evidence, and see how many gaps, okay, how many evidence you actually have per gaps. Okay, so what the number that you see here is actually how many actual research gap and the evidence that point to all those gaps. So actually I have about 20, okay, evidence, okay, or indicator to research gap, okay, from all of these sources. Okay, okay, so from this, okay, from this particular sheet, okay, next what you get the step 3, what you need to do is that, okay, now it comes to the part where you would like to show from your reading how many gaps that you have identified and what are the support to all of these gaps. Okay, so after reading this, okay, you should be able to do some kind of grouping, some kind of categorizing, and you should be able to come up with this. Okay, so based on the sheet just now, suggested gap sheet just now, I actually have 6, okay, research gap, okay, for my job quality construct. Okay, so for instance, okay, this is the first step, the need for job quality studies based on worker experience. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 evidence, okay, 6 support from literature that point to this gap. Okay, so and then so okay, another important gap in my research is this one, okay, that job quality studies are mainly done in developed countries. They are almost none, there are very few, okay, job quality studies done in developing countries. Okay, so what you will do is that, okay, when you are able to have something like this, okay, that's why after that you can go to your supervisor, sit down with your supervisor. Okay, so based on this table that you have with you, ask help from supervisor which one is the most suitable and the most feasible research gap for you to address. Because sometimes, okay, maybe there are research gap that is very interesting, okay, frequently mentioned by many researchers in your area, but do you have the means to actually pursue that research gap? Okay, let's say for example in my case, okay, actually there are many more calls, okay, for job quality research which is done at global scale. Global level job quality studies means, okay, we're talking about consensus study. Okay, we're talking about a study which are using national survey data, which is no way, okay, for me to be able to do it, okay, because of the time constraint and the budget constraint that I have as a student. Okay, so when I go and present, I show this to my supervisor, so he agreed, okay, because of the constraint that I have, okay, I should pursue only the first and the second research gap. Okay, although there are many more interesting gaps, let's say, the need to conduct job quality from qualitative perspective. It should be much more interesting. But okay, with the limitation that I have, I should only pursue these 2 gaps. So this is what, okay, you would like, okay, to be able to get from your synthesis matrix to help you with this. Okay. Okay, now, okay, let us look further, in terms of okay, how okay, when it comes to defining construct, okay, so your systematic is also going to be very useful for you, okay, when you would like to define certain construct, okay, because unlike in pure science where things are definitive, okay, for example, like oxygen will always be O2, water will always be H2O, but not that might not always be the case in social science. Okay, for example, okay, my own construct job quality. Okay, so this is the problem. Okay, because there is no single accepted definition of what job quality is. Okay, and then not only there has been so many definition, that's why there is no single accepted definition. Okay, this job quality construct also overlap a lot with related constructs such as job characteristic model and work-life balance. Okay, because some dimensions in job quality is also found in the dimensions of job characteristic model as well as work-life balance. So there are so many overlapping with this related construct. And not only that, okay, job quality is also among the construct, okay, which are elusive in nature, which mean concepts that people generally understood, okay, but they find it very hard to come up with any precise definition. Let's say, for example, if anybody asks, what is happiness? Okay, how to define what is happiness? Okay, so people understood generally what does it mean to be happy. Okay, but for you to actually define what happiness is not easy. Okay, so because for instance, let's say you say that people who are smiling, okay, is happy, that is only a facial expression normally associated with the feeling of happiness. But there are also people who might be smiling, but inside they're not happy at all. Okay, and there are also people who are not smiling, but actually they are fine, they are happy, they are contented. Okay, and when it comes to happiness, okay, things that you use, okay, that you find it that you find yourself easy to be happy when you were much younger is different to things that can make you happy as you grow older. So it's not easy, it's very hard, okay, to find the definition to happiness. Okay, so what if, okay, in your study, okay, you came across a construct like this, which is very very hard to define. Okay, so from here, okay, so since at one point I was lost, okay, because I was not sure whether what my understanding about job quality is correct or not. Okay, so during that time I recall, okay, what I have learned in my research methodology class. During that time it was conducted by our Prof Emeritus Muhammad Sulaiman. Okay, so this is the things that he mentioned, okay, when we are learning from him how to develop our research proposal. So he said, okay, if you cannot tell what is it about your construct, you should at least be able to tell what the construct is not. So you start by trying, okay, to see whether you can say, okay, what is not your construct. So instead of telling, okay, what is it about your construct that you cannot tell just yet, see whether you can actually tell what your construct is not. Okay, so in other words, okay, try. Okay, let's say you have a number of related construct. Okay, are you going to be able to use the related construct as a synonym, or in other way, can you use them interchangeably if you were to say that they are similar? Okay, for example, okay, in my case, okay, so job quality and quality of work are similar and can be used interchangeably as mentioned by these scholars. Okay, that's why you must not rely on the literal meaning of the words. It must be supported by your literature. If you were to say some related construct are actually can be used interchangeably in your research. Okay, so that's why, okay, the word job quality and employment quality are not similar, although the word job and employment sounds that like they are similar. Okay, because according to these scholars, okay, employment quality is meant, okay, for a much broader overview of jobs, okay, that include many other things that has to do with laws and policy, and that is not what I would like to do in my study. okay, I would like to focus more on the individual perspective of employment. Okay, not really so much on the policies and all this. Okay, that's why you have to be very clear what you actually would like to do in your study. Okay, so okay, the next tip, okay, let's say you can tell by now, okay, what are the terms that you can use interchangeably, what you cannot, okay. So if there are certain construct that you cannot use interchangeably with your own construct, then so that must have mean there are some difference in it, even if it is a very slight difference. So how are you going to find that difference? Okay, is you can do something like this. Okay, you can try by putting, okay, the definitions, okay, a number of definitions for each of the related construct side by side, okay, to see from where they start to differ. So all those definitions for each of these related construct, you can find it in your synthesis matrix. Okay, so this continuum, okay, so this line that you see here, it doesn't happen overnight. It actually took me more than 2 weeks, okay, to be able to draw this line and to be able to place which construct should be put at which end of this line. That actually took me 2 weeks. Okay, so if you see, okay, in my next slide, this is what I put in my thesis. Okay, so all this, okay, the definitions, okay, for each of the related construct, okay, I took from this matrix and I compare them side by side like this. Okay, so at first I start with quality of working life. Okay, so when I tried, okay, drawing the line, so maybe at this end I'm talking about whether it is less employment related, and this line is whether it is more employment related. Okay, so maybe so I tried, okay, so maybe I can put based on this definition that I've collected, so maybe I can put, okay, quality of work life over here, okay, based on the definitions, because it seems like this one is talking more about not only work but what it has to do with life. Okay, and then, okay, so since we have one thing on the line, okay, and then I move on to, okay, a much more closely related construct, which is between job characteristic model and job quality, because these two has to do more with employment compared to quality of working life. Okay, so after I did a comparison, okay, although these two are very, very similar in nature, somehow I get to see which, okay, focus each one has actually. So it seems that, okay, job characteristic model, okay, focus more on the job itself, okay, whereas job quality actually focus more on employment. And for me, this is what I would like to do. Okay, so this particular continuum or this particular line that you see, okay, together with this table that show the this definitions comparison, okay, this is what I put in my thesis. Okay, and I put here researchers own analysis, because this is what I did, okay, to be very clear with my own construct, and the examiners are fine with it, because I can show that there has been no such paper that did something like this. Okay, so they are fine. Okay, I put something like this in my thesis. Okay, so just to say that if you have followed all the procedure, that you have proved that there has been no such paper, the examiners are going to be fine with what you do. Okay, if you did something like this, okay, in your thesis. All right. Okay, now. Okay, now. Okay, we have come to the part, okay, where I think most of you will be very, very interested, okay, which is when it comes to how do you actually synthesize literature, okay. So doing synthesis actually means, okay, you bring ideas together based on a theme or a main point that you want to discuss here. Means, okay, let's say you would like to write a paragraph, okay, about something. Okay, so let's say you would like to write a paragraph about you would like to address, okay, the lack of research in this area. Okay, so that should be a theme. So the whole thing, the whole argument in that paragraph should be about that theme. Okay, so doing synthesis here means, okay, you link together some of these different arguments, okay, some are based on all the evidence that you have created, okay, to create a cohesive argument. Okay, So here, okay, based on what you have collected in your synthesis matrix, okay, so let's say all the evidence that points to the need for the, the research, for instance, okay, you collect all of that, okay, and then you try to arrange them, okay, to make a cohesive argument. So what does it mean by cohesive argument is that, okay, where all of these arguments points to the theme in a well-integrated manner. Okay, it's like everything is sticking together to the theme that you have chosen just now. Okay, so you must be able to show how these different arguments connect or conflict with one another in explaining the theme that you have chosen. Okay, and at the end of the synthesis paragraph, you should be able to combine everything and come up with something of your own voice. It's like, okay, you have this and that, authors saying this and that. Now, what say you? Okay, about what you would like to actually stress on. So I will give you an example after this. Okay, but let me just finish you this slide. Okay, so many of us, okay, when I was a student as well, this is also the mistake that I did. Okay, so when you are only listing down, this author says that author says this, the next author says that, what you do is only reporting what others have done, and that is not synthesizing. Okay, so if you're only summarizing, okay, all this, okay, has been done, but yet there are certain thing that has not been done. Okay, if you are only doing that, that is also not synthesizing. Okay, so similarly, if you were only comparing, okay, that authors with that with another authors, that is also not synthesizing, because synthesizing actually means you have to do all these at once. Okay, so if you, so let's say after you have come up with a paragraph, okay, that in your opinion is a synthesis paragraph, you can test whether you have done it correctly or not by seeing whether you can read the whole paragraph backwards or not. Okay, to see, okay, whether although you are reading from the bottom of the paragraph, okay, and moving upward, whether everything can still flow and connect smoothly. Okay, so later on after the presentation, you can just go and watch this YouTube video, because I find the illustration and the analogy that they use is very, very useful for you to understand how you actually should do synthesis of literature. Okay, so now, okay, let me show to you an example and see whether you can tell whether this is a good synthesis literature or not. Okay, let me make that. Okay, let me, sorry, I forgot I should have put it on the presentation mode. Okay, also please tell, okay, so any of the students, so you can take your time, okay, to have a look, okay, and then please tell whether this is a good example or a bad example of a synthesized literature. Okay, so anyone, so first, can any of you tell whether is this a good or not a good example of a synthesized paragraph? Is this even synthesized in the first place? Okay, any of you, just I would like to make this session, it's like, more interactive so that you can assess, okay, how much have you understand, okay, from my presentation when it comes to this important thing about synthesizing. Anybody can give it a try?
Nobody dares to try? They're still reading.
Okay, can give them some time. I took all the sentence from my own thesis actually. I put it this way and just to show to you whether this is a good or not.
No wonder. Okay.
Of course I have to take from my own work, right?
Yeah, of course lah.
Yeah, this is because I would like the student to be able to tell whether this is a synthesis or not, because this is what they might be doing as well.
Is it good or is it bad?
Students,
students.
is it good or bad? To your understanding, based on what I have.
Sorry, doctor. For me, I think it's quite good enough because it has presented, I mean, you come up with the definitions and so also the literature gap, because I think you also explain what you have understood from the literatures, from the definitions by the researchers. So I think for me it's quite good.
Okay, that's one attempt. Who else would like to attempt? This is the chance for, the chance for you to build your understanding. Okay, that's a good attempt just now, brother.
Hi, doctor.
Yes.
Okay, Madhavan here, doctor. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Okay. From my perception, what I feel is that is also what mentioned by Sister. I think Afa there. To build up the synthesis, there should have been some form of introduction of what exactly is being studied. I mean, that's what I feel, and then. To look at it, it is basically identifying literatures that are related to that particular definition, which I feel it is still very open-ended. Yep.
Okay, that's very good. All right. Okay, so, I think it's not that we take only 2 attempts. Okay, over here, okay. So, in order for you to be able to tell whether it is a good or bad example, you can actually, recall what I've mentioned previously. Okay, there should be one theme that you can detect from the paragraph just now. Okay, are you able to do that or not? Okay, so a good synthesis paragraph, will make it very clear, will make it very visible to you what is the main argument in that paragraph. So actually just now it is not that clear.
Yeah, there's a lot of gaps.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually a bad example of synthesis. Okay, because when you read, from the first sentence until the last sentence, it is not very clear. It is not that crystal clear to you what is this paragraph trying to emphasize on. What is the focus of this paragraph is not clear. Okay, so let us see this further. Okay, so here I start by trying to define, trying to say that the quality is complex task and whatnot, because different people perceive things differently when it comes to job. Okay, and then in the second sentence, so I said that job quality has multiple aspects of job. Okay, although this might sound like it is in relation to things about being complex, but actually it does not really echo. It doesn't really echo with what the previous sentence is saying. Okay, and then in the third sentence I go and say so this one, so it's like I am trying to rephrasing, in other words what the previous sentence is saying. So this is not nothing new, this is not adding anything to this whole paragraph that I'm trying to say. It doesn't add anything new, it is only a paraphrasing. Because in doing synthesis, you must just now, you must be able to come up with your own thoughts, which is totally new, with regards to what you are discussing. But this does not mean that you can just merely paraphrasing. Okay, so that's why this is not a good example. Okay, and then at the end, so I mentioned that in literature there is yet to be any single accepted definition of job quality. Okay, so this one, it doesn't really recapture what the first sentence is saying in the first place. It doesn't really recapture. Okay, so if you were to rearrange this paragraph, let's say you would like to make this backwards. okay, in reverse, if you try to put, okay, to make the last sentence, okay, to be the first sentence and everything follows accordingly, if you are not able to find, okay, any kind of flow, okay, if everything does not connect, so that is an indication that this is not a good synthesized paragraph. Okay, so this is not good. All right, so this is a mistake that is commonly done, okay, by many students, including myself when I was a student before, because I thought what I did is a synthesizing, but actually what I did was only partially synthesizing, okay, the literature. Sometimes it's not even the partially synthesized, it is only a gross release. Okay, I'm just putting what the authors this and that have done, and then I don't even recap what that paragraph is all about. Okay.
Just to basically answer the chat, citation is not an issue because citation is there. The problem is it doesn't gel.
Yes, exactly.
You're all over the place. What are you talking about? You don't demonstrate the complexity, and all of a sudden you say that there's no one single definition.
Yes, it's like a jump out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's why everything doesn't connect over here. Okay, so now, okay, let me show to you the example that I think, okay, is a much better way, okay, of how, okay, literature should be synthesized. Okay, within the similar point about how to define job quality. Okay. Okay, so this one, okay, so I start with a theme. Okay, where, okay, it is very hard, it is very difficult, okay, to define job quality. So I think let me just let you read it first. Okay, don't bother about the numbers just yet. Okay, that I put for all of the centers, don't bother about it just yet. Just read the whole thing. Whether you find it as a much better, okay, much better paragraph compared to the previous one. Okay, so here, okay, so I hope that it is, quite visible to you that, okay, the way that I arrange things, okay, in this paragraph is, okay, better, okay, a little bit compared to the previous paragraph, okay. So here I start with one theme, okay, one specific theme, okay, which is about, it is difficult, okay, to define job quality. So basically this whole paragraph, okay, should be about, it is very hard to define job quality. Okay, so from the theme, okay, so I go, okay, so I start with providing the evidence that echo, okay, with the theme just now. Okay, so by saying that, okay, how, okay, the judgment about job quality define a lot, okay, on the workers, on the employees themselves. So regardless if they are actually performing the same job at the same place, at the same work location, each employee perhaps has different views about job quality. Okay, just to echo with the theme that it is a very complex and difficult task to do when it comes to defining job quality. Okay, so when it comes to the second sentence, okay, so this second sentence reinstate, okay, what have been mentioned, okay, in the when it comes to the third sentence, okay, it further reinstate, okay, what the second sentence have said just now, okay, by using, okay, this is what we call, a signal, phrase, okay, so further emphasize, okay, the subjective nature of job quality, because just now, okay, the word subjective here, okay, actually relate with, okay, the fact that different people will have different views about job quality. Okay, that's why. Okay, so subjective nature of job quality, okay, by saying that it's an elusive concept that people didn't really understood but find it hard to come up with any precise definition. Okay, all right. And then, okay, when it comes to the fourth sentence, okay, this one I just would like to show to you what do I mean by sometimes you're not only, collecting evidence that connects, okay, everything, okay, about that particular theme. Sometimes you also might put forward, okay, an argument that look like it is conflicting a bit, okay, with your theme, but actually it is within the context of trying to explain that theme. Okay, so here I put, that's why I use this, what we call this signaling phrase. Okay, although, okay, some authors, okay, try, okay, to define job quality, okay, by saying this and that, but such definition is too general for construct as vague as job quality. Okay, because just now the thing is about it is very difficult to define. Now, what as if it was conflicting because over here I'm saying, okay, some people try to define it, because something which is hard to define, that means perhaps nobody has, okay, defined it very well. Okay, just to show how you can connect, okay, all the ideas, although you have some slightly conflicting, okay, evidence or argument. Okay, so the part where it is my own voice, okay, with regard to this thing is when I said, okay, that this definition is actually too general and vague, okay, for to be called, okay, a definition of job quality. So this part here is my own sentence, okay, the new insight, okay, my own voice that I put into this paragraph. Okay, so for the last for the last sentence number 5, okay, so I tied everything together, okay, by saying that until today there is yet, okay, because although, okay, somebody tried to define it, okay, but then, okay, until today there is yet to be any single accepted definition of job quality. Okay, so if I were to test, okay, whether this paragraph that I have created, okay, has been synthesized correctly or not, okay, I can try to rearrange, okay, to make this last, okay, this fifth sentence, okay, to become the first sentence, and then, okay, the flow of the sentence, okay, should be from here 1 until 5. Okay, the next paragraph should be from 5 until 1. Whether I can still see, okay, if the flows still remain, if everything still connect, although now the paragraph is in reverse. Okay, now let me, okay, so bear in mind what we have read over here. Now you have a look at this, a reverse version of this paragraph. Okay, so although you see here, okay, although this time the paragraph is upside down, okay, the last sentence previously has now become the first sentence, okay, and the first sentence has become the last sentence. Everything is still connect, okay, everything is still connected with one another, and this time, okay, the theme is about there is yet to be one single accepted definition of job quality, okay, because this and that, okay, and then this last sentence, okay, which happened to be the first sentence just now, is actually the voice, okay, my own voice that I adding, okay, to this synthesized paragraph. Okay, so do you find it clear? Okay, if you were able to actually make, okay, the paragraph upside down like this or in reverse like this, and you can test, okay, whether you actually have done it correctly or not. Okay, so this is what, okay, So that is why, okay, this is I mean good for you to make it a practice, okay, because when it comes to doing synthesis, okay, it's not something that you can master overnight, okay. You have to try, okay, many times, okay, and then depending on what things that you are trying to write on, sometimes it can be easier, sometimes it's going to be a little bit more tricky, okay, how to be able to come up with a synthesized, okay, paragraph about that thing. Okay, so one bonus question for you. Okay, do you think this paragraph and the previous paragraph, the original one, okay, exists in my thesis or not? Do you think, okay, this reverse paragraph or the original paragraph just now exists in my thesis or not, if you happen to find my thesis at the library? Do not put it in chat, just mention it, okay, verbally. What do you think? You can find or not, actually? I think Putri is here. What do you think, Putri? No one is talking.
Just a simple answer, yes or no.
Yes or no?
I believe it's a yes.
Thank you for having a very good assumptions about me. Actually, the answer is not.
No, yeah.
Because these two paragraphs only appear last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, because when I was about to sleep, when I actually has finished doing this slide, somehow I come across a source over the internet that says it's a good way for you to test whether you have done synthesize correctly or not if you are able to read it in reverse. So I was like, okay, it's interesting. Let's try this out. So yes, it works. It actually can. Okay, you can actually test it as simple as that. Whether if you were to rearrange things in the reverse order, can you get the same flow and whether everything still connects? Okay, if you reverse what you have written. Okay, so this just to show to you. Okay, a good way. Okay, for you to practice. Okay, how to do synthesizing. Okay, so after I look back at my thesis, there are lots of things that I do not like. Now that I know how to do synthesizing, actually. Okay, all right. Okay, now is what time? It's already 11:45. Okay, now I open for any discussions. Okay, also any questions that you might have. Okay, because basically we have covered things. Okay, a lot of everything in my presentation today.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, maybe about synthesis metrics perhaps. Okay, if you are concerned about maybe you have not used Microsoft Excel that extensively before, or you are not an advanced user of Microsoft Excel, that is totally fine. Okay, so because you can always Google, how to do the fish pain just now, or what to do in certainly that you would like to do, you can always Google it. And then always remember, skills like this are not something that you master in a fortnight, overnight. So give yourself some time to do all this, and for you to be able to tell whether you are ready to start writing, see whether you have covered your seminal authors or not. Okay, you're not going to be able to do this for all journals. I don't think you have the time even. Okay, but at least if you have covered the seminal authors and those important journals that you have constantly refers to, I think it is good for you to start writing if you have all that in your synthesis metrics already. Okay, I'm trying to my PC is a little bit slow. Okay, any questions about the synthesis metrics?
Do we have any questions from the floor?
Are you clear how to find the research gaps just now?
Anybody? I think one of the problems is that quite a number of them have not actually done a literature synthesis matrix.
Mm.
It's a very
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Salam,
yes.
yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Yes, Salam, Brother Bello. Yes, please. What questions do you have?
Thank you, Doctor. Your presentation is well understood. My question is that how many literature do you number of literature are you supposed to review, maybe for a PhD or master's thesis?
That's the wrong question. Sorry. Why do I say that, Dr. Mariza?
Well, actually, there is no definite numbers to how many literature should there be. Okay, so I mean, and you actually don't even count how many are there. Okay, so it's so actually, I mean, for you to put a limit of them to, I mean, to put a number as to how many journals should you read, that is wrong. Okay, because the thing is, okay, because your level, you should be able to tell, okay, how much you understand things based on whether you can write about it in your own words or not. If you cannot, that means you have not done enough reading. Or it can also be the case where you might be referring to the wrong journals. Okay, you might be, okay, because it is common for me to see, okay, in your thesis, okay, in your proposal, you are saying that there has been no research done in this area. Okay, this is a very strong claim for you to say that. Okay, so perhaps, okay, you come up with that claim because perhaps when you are searching, okay, not only that you have been using the wrong keywords, okay, you also referring to the wrong journal that actually did not cover your topic, but you thought it did. Okay, so that's why it can be also a good idea, okay, if apart from the keywords, okay, columns for keywords, it's also going to be good at the earlier stage when you are doing synthesis matrix for you to also include the name, okay, of the journal, because journals are very specific in terms of what kind of articles that they accept. So if you happen to find, okay, an article, okay, in the journal which reflects what you would like to do, it is most likely that you're going to find more, okay, similar or related journal in that related paper in that particular journal. Okay, for example, this, okay, article by this seminal author in my study, okay, Manus Dibostilo, okay, so this article is actually only found in human relations, okay, the Tavistock Institute Journal. I cannot find, okay, a paper of this quality which can cover lots of things like this in some other journals. So if I were to search, okay, to know more about what else, okay, what are the other things have been done, okay, in job quality, I should always look in that human relations journal. That's how you keep yourself focused. Okay, so if you have, let's say you have collected, you have exhausted, okay, a number, okay, a lot of journals, okay, article in that particular journals, you already know what keywords to use, then that's how you tell how much have you have read. So there's no specific digit, okay, to how many articles should you read.
Being obsessed with the number of articles that you should read will actually do you a disservice. You have to read until you have no further question on that particular issue. That means all the question actually, you don't have any more question to ask. Okay. The one thing that I think why is going wrong with a lot of you is that you are not reading the article the way it should be read. You're not supposed to read all the article that you search and found in the library. So if you found like 500 article, I'm going to read all the 500 article. Die lah, you know. There's a particular way of reading for academic papers in particular, correct? Correct, Dr. Fariza?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You start, first and foremost, you start with keyword. After you're done with the keyword, you start with the abstract. That will further eliminate certain article.
Yes, exactly. Because when you read abstract, you know whether you are reading the correct paper or not.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So once you've done with the abstract, it still doesn't answer your question. You read the introduction, okay? Read the literature, skip the methodology, skip the finding, go to the conclusion.
Hmm.
Okay, so when the indicators in the conclusion that this is a key article, you read everything. In fact, I always recommend to my student, don't read the methodology unless it's time for you to write your methodology chapter.
I really agree with that. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you skip methodology and skip finding until you are ready to write the methodological chapter and the finding chapter. So it's not about reading all article, it's about being smart while you are reading.
Yes. Okay, in addition to what Dr. have said just now, okay, a very, very good article, okay, you are going to find it very hard for you to actually, find, okay, for you to actually realize where are the gaps actually, because that's what I said just now, the gaps of, the suggestion for future research might not always be at the end, okay, of the paper. Might not be at when they're supposed to be discussing about the limitation of future research. Sometimes it can be anywhere, okay, because that's the art, okay, of them, okay, to be able to write in such a way. That is why in my this, okay, as that you're saying, okay, all this evidence that I have collected, some of them actually not, and in this particular column, it is not. Okay, it is somewhere in the middle. It is sometimes even when I read, okay, introduction part, okay, so this is all the evidence, okay, they are not suggesting the further research just yet, but it is pointing towards it, okay, unless, okay, unless for something as straightforward as this, let's say for this particular gap here, okay, this is what I, okay, copy paste, okay, from this source, Oldham and Heckman, okay, so this one, research is needed to further specify the interactions, so and so. So this one, how much more straightforward can it be? Okay, but in some other resources, okay, it is not as straightforwardly written like that. So that's why having a synthesis matrix will allows you to see the ways, okay, how things are being written by various researchers. So this is what, okay, a tool like this to keep everything in one place, other than jotting down things here and there, okay, and then paste the papers on all four walls that you have in your room. I do think this is a much more feasible, much more comfortable way of doing it. Okay. Okay,
Other
yes.
questions?
Yep, any other questions?
Assalamualaikum
So
warahmatullah.
Dr. Mo, mashallah.
Yeah,
Among my
really,
teachers.
yeah, Dr. Fariza. I enjoy, mashallah, and I enjoy your presentation. I
Alhamdulillah,
think
I'm
it's
so glad.
very systematic, and we learned a lot from it. And jazakumullah khair. I think the good thing the presentation is it tells the student how you see a literature can guide you to identify your research gaps systematically, and that is really good. And when I can see from the way you present your literature, one interesting thing which I think you may need also to highlight to the student is your ability to think through the literature.
Yes,
And,
yes.
yeah, so, and I think this is where many students go wrong, because when I see the way you structure, you can see a lot of thinking going on in the way you move with your literature. So many students will just let the literature speak for itself. But that thinking, which I see the way you coin, your statements, the way you argue for the definition, you argue for your case, I think this is the skills which, our students need really to pick up from the way you structure your work. And Jazakallah khair, that was really good. Thank you very much.
MashaAllah. Thank you so much for your feedback, Dr. Mom. It was worth staying up until 2 or 3 o'clock last night. Hearing that comments from you. Thank you very much, Dr. Mom. Okay.
Do you have any other questions? Yeah, Fariza, what do you want to say? Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, if we have time until 12:30, right? Okay, so I was
Yeah.
wondering whether we actually would like to watch this video, because I like the analogy that they put in this video about synthesizing literature.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
we should, yeah. So let us watch this together, because I found this over YouTube, okay, and I really like, okay, how they put it, okay, because it will give you an overview. How should you understand, okay, literature synthesizing? I hope there's no interesting ads popping up.
Oh, you need to put out you need to share the
Sorry.
sound.
Oh, sorry. How do I do that, yeah?
When you are sharing screen,
Uh-huh.
there's a box under there, share sound.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me open. Okay. Okay, hold on, yeah. I'm trying to share the sound as well.
There should be a box, then you should click on the box.
Mm, I
Okay, kejap
can you
You have to stop sharing the screen first.
Okay, let me stop it first.
Okay.
Okay.
Then click on share screen. Do you see the box at the bottom?
Okay, mine is up here. So I saw the mute, the stop video. Where is the one, this one about the audio?
Dia kat bawah.
Okay, let me stop sharing first. Okay.
Okay. Okay, now click on the share screen.
Okay.
Then kat bawah tu.
This here. I see. Share. This is in this box. Okay, share computer sound. Okay, this should be okay now. Let's try that again. You can see my YouTube again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear the audio now?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
In a synthesis, you bring things together. This combination, integration, or merging creates something new, your synthesis. The action of synthesis is basic to our world, from molecules to personal decisions. Take, for example, what happens when a single oxygen molecule is combined with two hydrogen molecules. Water is created, or synthesized. Hard to get more basic than that. You also use synthesis when you make personal decisions. For example, if two instructors are teaching a class you must take, you may synthesize your past experiences with the teachers to choose the one best for you. In school, when writing a synthesis from your research, your sources may come from the school's library, a textbook, or internet. Here are some important points to keep in mind. First, regardless of where your sources came from or how many you have, what you write should be driven by a thesis that you devised. You must form a personal point of view, a slant that will connect information from your sources. A quick example. Let's say you've read 3 folk tales, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Little Red Riding Hood, and the Pied Piper. Now you must write a synthesis of them. As you study your 3 sources, you think about links between them and come up with this idea. Folk tales use fear to teach children lessons. You then use this thesis to synthesize your 3 sources as you support your point of view. Your support points could focus on the lessons for children. Lesson 1, never talk to strangers. Lesson 2, don't wander from home. Lesson 3, appearances can deceive us. This step of outlining your thesis and main points is a crucial one when writing a synthesis. If your goal is to provide readers a unified perspective on your sources, that unified perspective must be clear to you before the writing begins. Once the writing begins, your point of view is then carried through on the paragraph and sentence levels. Let's examine some techniques for achieving the unity that a good synthesis requires. First, here's an example of an unsuccessful attempt. Many sources agree that capital punishment is not a crime deterrent. Now here's the idea or topic sentence around which the sources should be unified. According to Judy Pennington in an interview with Helen Prejean, crime rates in New Orleans rise for at least 8 weeks following executions. Citation page 110. Jimmy Dunn notes that crime rates often go up in the first 2 or 3 months following an execution. Death in the Americas argues that America's crime rate as a whole has increased drastically since the reinstatement of the death penalty in the 1960s. Helen Prejean cites Ellis in her book to note that in 1980, 500,000 people were behind bars, and in 1990 that figure rose to 1.1 million, citation page 112. This paragraph certainly uses a number of sources. However, they are presented in a random, grocery list fashion. Besides the main point at the beginning, there's no further attempt to synthesize them. The sources seem tossed in, like ingredients in a salad. Let's examine a possible revision of that paragraph. Major studies suggest that capital punishment fails to deter crime. In Dead Men Walking, Helen Prejean presents statistics indicating that capital punishment does little to lower crime. Note that the key idea from our topic sentence, capital punishment fails to deter crime, is echoed in the sentence about the source, capital punishment does little to lower crime. This repetition ties the source to the overall idea being developed. Based on this evidence, Prejean concludes, executions do not deter crime. The U.S. murder rate is no higher in states that do not have the death penalty than those who do. Citation page 110. Note how the phrase, based on this evidence, provides a connection by forcing the reader to think back to the evidence of statistics in the previous sentence. Prejean's point is reiterated from a historical perspective in Dunn's article, Death in the Americas. Now this sentence exists for one reason only, to provide a thought bridge between two sources, referring back to Prejean and forward to Dunn. Dunn first points out that, despite the social and economic upheavals from 1930 to 1960, crime rates were unchanged, citation page 2. Our linking phrase here is, Dunn first points out. However, Dunn notes, after the reinstatement of the death penalty in the 1960s, crime rates soared, citation page 2. The phrase, however Dunn notes, provides a final link between the last two sentences. The result is a matrix of connective devices that unifies the sources around a key idea stated at the beginning. Although this matrix seems complex, it is actually built on a simple three-point strategy. First, stay in charge. You, the writer, must control the sources, using them to serve your purpose. In good synthesis writing, sources are used to support what you, the writer, have already said in your own words. Second, stay focused. Your main point is not merely stated once and left to wilt. Your main idea is repeated and echoed throughout as a way to link the sources, to weave them together into a fabric of meaning. Third, stay strategic. Notice the source sandwich strategy at work. First, the author sets up the source with its background and relevance to the point. And after the source comes a follow-up in his or her own words as a way to bridge or link to the next part. In other words, your own words are used like two slices of bread with the source in the middle. Follow these simple principles when using sources in your writing, and you will achieve the most important goal of synthesis writing, to create a whole greater than its parts.
Little Red Riding Hood. Let's start the story.
Okay, so how do you find that? Okay, so I hope the illustration, the analogy used just now, okay, is very clear. Okay, make it very clear to you how should you synthesize literature. Okay, and if you were to test, you can, go and revisit that video and try if you can rearrange that, okay, backwards and see whether everything still flows, whether things still connect or not, even if you have reversed the order of the sentences. Okay. All right. Okay, do you have any more questions or insights or whatnot from the students?
Do you have any more questions? Do you have other comments that you want to make? Anybody? You managed to scare them.
I wasn't having any intention to do that, okay?
No. It's just that doing it's whoever said it is easy, you know, but this is the one way that you could actually do it to actually avoid you from getting lost for a long period of time.
Masya
Where
Allah.
you correct?
Yeah, I mean, if only I can tell you how miserable I was during the 2 weeks time, where I cannot come out with this stupid line you may say. I may say stupid line. Okay, those were the days. Okay, where if I need to come to the kuliah, okay, to do some errands. Okay, if I happen to see my supervisor or Dr. Azura from afar, I'll be using a different stairs to avoid from meeting them. To tell
Because
you honestly.
we will ask you what's your progress.
Yes. Okay. So I mean that is the stage. I mean the part. Okay, where I don't want to be meeting anybody, especially my supervisor and Dr. Zura, because back then, okay, she was our deputy dean of PG. Okay, during my time before as well. Okay, so I was having so many things congested. Okay, on my mind. I don't want to meet anybody, but I still have to come to the campus. So it is such. Okay, I mean as if you are in a darkness. Okay, the reason why, because since that is about my IV, okay, job quality is my independent variable. So if I cannot tell what actually is my independent variable, how am I going to be able to find the other variables in my studies? I don't even know what job quality is. Okay, so that will affect how I search for my mediators. How do I search for the possible dependent variable that I can use with my IV? So that's why, and I was also worried if all this while I have been collecting the wrong journals. That is why I was that worried. Okay, so the moment when I was able, okay, to come up with this line and to properly put, okay, all this related construct, okay, at the proper end, okay, on the line, the feeling is like as if you are being given hidayah, you know. Actually, so I can tell you it is something like that. That is why, okay, what can recall from Prof. Muhammad Sulaiman class before has actually helped me a lot. Okay, during the time when we had, okay, the research method class, okay, with him as the instructor. Okay, so that's why the foundation is very important. Okay, until when you start, okay, doing your literature review, only then that you will realize how much you actually have, okay, learned in the class. That is why. Okay, so I hope, okay, this tip that I write for you, okay, out of my memory about what 6 years ago, okay, when I was a PhD student like you. So I hope this is going to help you as well if you happen to be in a situation like me, where you cannot tell what is it about your construct. As at first you think that you know, but until, okay, for me, I realized that when I was reading through my journals, suddenly I find myself reading about policies, reading about employment law, reading about there's a need, okay, for some policy change here and there. So I was like, this is not what I would like to do. That's why, okay, that's why you must be very clear in the first place what you are pursuing, okay? What is the niche that you are trying, okay, to explore, so that you don't end up, okay, trying to do so many things at one time and you don't even have the means to do it.
Okay. Some of you always say that it's very difficult for you to find the exact literature for your specific study. This is what advice I can give you about that. That's because you're trying to find the journal that you haven't written. If somebody have written about the specific topic that you're talking about, that means it's no longer a researchable topic. You have to break down your topic into areas that you need into journal articles that you need to look for. After that, the articles that you find, you should be doing this so that it can help you better organize your thinking. Okay, and even though it's difficult to do because this is not something that you can do overnight, I think Dr. Mom have said that, Dr. Farisa have said that, Prof. Hassanul also have said the same thing. It takes time. You actually need to spend time doing this. There's no shortcut. That shouldn't be any shortcut, because if there is a shortcut, we will find out. How do we find out? By talking to you. We will know whether you've done the reading or you haven't done the reading. We will know. Can?
Yes.
But you cannot answer a simple question.
Yes. So I mean, for us as the examiner, so if let's say we read in your thesis, you are saying that there is no such study. So what if we ask you to come up with the metrics? Okay, what if you said there is no study? Can we see what have you put in your metrics so we can ask up until that point? Okay, because you haven't tried this out. Okay, maybe you have yet to experience what I experienced. Okay. So, I can say, okay, I can still remember the look on my supervisor's face, Prof. Arif's face, okay, when I come up to his room, showing him this table. That means the gap that I put forward is a really strong gap. This is what you would like to do with your supervisor, because you are the researcher, you are the one who should be reading a lot, you should be the one who knows a lot more compared to your supervisor, and actually, if you are the one who should know more than your examiner, actually.
Yeah. Viva should not be the case where the examiner is asking you, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? No.
Yes.
Viva should be the case where you clarify what is it that you did. I basically realized what a Viva is in the first 2 minutes of my own Viva. It's not about them asking me, why did you do that? Why did you do this and what that? It's about me telling them what I did and why I did it the way I did it, what I found, what is interesting about this. It's conversation actually. Should be. But when the examiners start asking you question, that's when you know that you are in trouble. Okay? When they ask you question and you cannot answer, that's when you know that you are in trouble.
Okay. With regards to the question, I think I can recall one thing. Okay, just now when I mentioning to you about the journal Tuhan just now, okay, when I mentioning about the measurement scale, okay, so when I had my Viva, okay, one of the question that asked by my examiners is that why I use this one particular scale. Okay, that one is the scale for my mediator, so for effective commitment. Okay, so the examiner asks why you are using this scale from this author, because the scale from this author, although it's an original scale, okay, the author developed it himself, but that scale is not popular in the field. It is not commonly used scale to measure effective commitment. So you imagine I have already used, okay, the original author, yet I got that question from examiner. So I don't really remember what I have mentioned, but it's somewhere along this line. So I said that I'm sorry that I'm not aware that actually this scale is not that commonly used. But when I found it, okay, I found that the items are all suitable, okay, to my research, and the reliability score, the Cronbach alpha value is quite good. And in fact, when I tested it in my MOS model, the result was fine. It is a fit to the MOS model that I put forward. So I guess, so I think it is suitable. So I answer along that line. So you imagine, okay, if you actually do the cherry picking that I mentioned earlier just now, you just pick here and there from various authors. You call that what you use, okay, for to measure your construct. And then what if your examiner actually go and dig from your references? Where do you get actually that question items? How are you going to answer? That is why it sounds like a very, something simple to you, but to the examiner is a gravely mistake. That's why you need to have the journal to hand column for you to find the original authors of the measurement scale and get from the original authors the actual Cronbach alpha value when they develop the scale, not the one you generate from your pilot study. Okay? Okay, 15 more minutes. What other questions? I'm not sure whether if you actually using Systematic on your own, only then that you might have more questions to ask, I think. Okay, let me ask the students, okay, have you, okay, before my presentation, okay, has any of you actually come across business metrics? Have you heard of it somewhere or have you seen about it somewhere? Is this like totally something new to you? Any one of you can respond to my query.
Assalamu alaikum. I think we have done that in research methodology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is using
you've actually, we have requested you to do something like that.
Yes,
it's not
yes.
that you've done completely, because it cannot be done in a short period of time. We taught you about how to use it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We were requested to do something like that in our research methodology class.
Question now, the issue now, don't do it just for your research methodology class.
Yes.
This is, you're supposed to do it for your research. Okay. I know of a lot of students who only do it for the research methodology class, but don't do it for the research.
I mean, this one is because maybe you haven't realized how useful it is, okay? So this one, okay, because to me, if you're doing it only for the research methodology class, okay, you have already started something, okay? And then when you did not carry it forward, you lost, okay? You lost the, what we call the momentum, okay? I don't know, I was so crazy doing this systematic. I do not know why you do not feel like this is very important. Yes, I know that everybody has different way of learning, different way of putting things together. But to me, I mean, when I research about this, when I search about symmetry over the internet, others are also saying the same thing, that Excel works the best when it comes to putting things together to help you write faster, actually, because everything is in one place.
Okay, let me just say one thing. The one thing that a lot of you get it wrong, some of you get it wrong, at least when it comes to the classes that we have, we ask you to sit in. Those are not just classes to sit in, or I got to pass it before I can do my research. They're supposed to help you.
Yeah.
Okay, you're supposed to be building on it. So you're supposed to be using your research method class, your quantitative class, qualitative class to help you to do the research that you want to do at the end of the day. So one of the things that you could do is, instead of looking at areas in which is going to help you to get through the class, why not look into the area that you want to focus in on your research? It can be the basis of your proposal. Students who progress faster, I would say, to their research proposal are the ones that are using these classes to help them build their proposal. So say, for example, when we give you a list, a work to study about 15 journals and identify 15 journals and do a literature synthesis matrix, the journal should actually be the base journal that you can use for your eventual research proposal, and not talk about something else. Say you want to do a research on supply chain, you should actually go and find journal in that area instead of finding journal, oh, for this class I'm going to do on halal management. Where's the connection between the research that you want to do on supply chain management and halal management? Okay, there's a question in the chat box here. There are different types of theses in UTU, in whatever it is. Okay, so which one should you follow? If you're talking about thesis, the format, there are a lot of different formats available out there depending on the nature of your study. Correct? Correct, Dr. Fraser?
Yes, yes.
Yes, it differs based on the research, design, qualitative or quantitative. It differs based on how you want to approach it. Like there's also a thesis format that's based on a collection of papers and whatnot. You have to follow the format that is recommended by your supervisor.
Exactly.
That's why you have to work with your supervisor.
Yeah, because supervisor also used to seeing the flows of writing, okay, or what are the subheadings that should be inside a particular chapter. They are trained, okay, I mean, in that way. So if you has any deviation, your supervisor will be able to tell what are the things that you are missing, what are the things that should not be there. Okay, even when it comes to whether you should combine, I mean, like previously I would like to do 6 chapters, okay, for my thesis, okay, and then it's like I would like to break up, I think my chapter 3, something like that. I'm not sure why I would like to do that. So, but from my supervisor point of view, I should stick to only 5 chapters.
That means literature and theoretical frameworks kind of.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Somehow, I don't know why I would like to do that in that time. So that's why you need a supervisor to guide you in doing the correct, okay, doing things the correct way with regard to your thesis.
Yeah. Normally, if it's a well-established area, then you will have a separate theoretical framework chapter. But if it's not a well-established area, where the established theories are not, there's not a lot of established theory, then you can combine normally. Any other question? Sorry?
I thought my Amos model previously was already scary. I didn't know it was so scary.
Well, if you look at the extension of work that you've done, it's scary.
Is it?
I mean, that is a fact. Okay, I think because I think some people are expecting that, how am I supposed to do this when I first started? See, when you first started, you probably should have like, what's your title? Journal type, author, title, keywords, objective, and maybe introduction, maybe, I don't know. Instead of introduction, you can put there definition of terms. You can put there as definition of terms. Maybe as you read more, you can expand and you can elaborate. This is not done overnight. Rome is not built in one night and one day. I would say this extensive of synthesis matrix, it's about 3 months worth of work, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
3
it
months
is.
is the minimum.
Yeah. And I keep adding more statements, more excerpt, okay, as I goes along. So from the master list, okay, so when I would like to write about something, I create a new sheet. They say this one is the sheet for me to define, okay, the hardly defined job quality, okay. And then when it comes to theories, okay, when it comes to this one is my, when I would like to choose which theory, okay, what is the strength of this one that I would like to put forward, okay. I also sometimes do a sheet just for a particular journal. For this one, it's about why. Okay, I'm going for this. Okay, individual level of job quality instead of global level of job quality. So sometimes I just copy paste. Okay, the actual. I just screenshot. Okay, paragraph from particular journal just for me to link together my thinking. Okay,
Yeah,
this one.
normally, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally you do this for seminar work.
Mm.
The work that is really critical that
Yeah.
you are going to refer again and again to.
This one is when I would like to create my own theoretical framework, so that I put the pictures and whatnot. I mean, when it comes to trying to put the congested things that you have on your mind onto a piece of paper, that is when the headache will come.
Yeah. And also please remember that your literature synthesis matrix does not stay static. You will have
Yes.
a master one, like Dr. Farida say, then you will also have an evolution. Sometimes the evolution will also come when you're writing a particular part of your thesis, a subheading. When you go to your matrix, you suddenly see that you have not read enough.
Yes.
Guess what you have
Yes.
to do? You have to add literature.
Mm-mm. That is why
Okay?
there is no specific number to how many should you read. That is why you
Yes.
keep adding. Yes.
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 Yes. For example, you have a sentence saying that a number of researchers suggest, but then your literature synthesis matrix only suggests one researcher. That means you have to read more. You have to find a few more.
Yeah.
I think if you want to talk about a number of researchers suggest, to me it should be around 3 to 4 maybe. Not 1 or 2. 1 or 2 is not a number. 1 or 2 means it's one researcher suggests or two researchers suggest. If you're talking about a number, should be more than 3, even sometimes more than 4, I guess. Okay. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks to you as well.
So many people are so quiet. That means they are scared to death, considering what they need to do. And just to write a literature and to find a gap, finding the literature and reading it is not enough. You have to transform it in a way that in which it will make it easier for you to basically insert your opinion and what you believe in. Okay, and whatever opinion that you want to state, especially in this academic world, it's important for you to have a literature backing on it. You cannot just simply say, I'm going to do this because, just because I can. It doesn't work like that. You want to do something because some people in the extent of the literature suggest that it exists or this exists. And how do you know whether this exists or not? By doing the literature synthesis matrix. Okay, so it's wrong, for example, for you to say, I am doing this in my thesis because nobody else have done it. Everybody have done something, but they haven't done this. You cannot say that. There are reasons to why people have not done it the way that you want to do it. And maybe because that's not what, when that's that it doesn't explain the situation. Say, for example, everybody's talking about how a construct is a mediator. You want to test it as a moderator. You must have literature backing to why you say it's a moderator.
Yes, exactly.
correct?
Yes.
Yes. So how do you identify whether there's a gap or not? This is the most systematic way to focus your thinking. Otherwise, you're going to be everywhere and you're not going to be able to focus. It's a difficult way to focus, but it's a workable way to focus.
Yes.
Okay? So
And-
thank you very much. Anything else, Dr. Fariza?
Okay, in addition to what you mentioned about choosing mediator or moderator just now, okay, so although let's say you choose this construct, okay, to become a mediator, let's say you don't have a solid, okay, support just yet to say that that's a good mediator for your study. So sometimes, okay, certain variables are not being researched much, okay, as a mediator for some reason, perhaps because it functioned well only as the antecedent. So if you find, okay, this particular construct, okay, has been used a lot, okay, as the independent variable, perhaps it is because it only functions well as independent variable. It does not mean that, okay, when it is a good independent variable, it will also become a good mediator. No, do not make that kind of easy assumption. Okay, you can only say whether this or that construct can become mediator or can become moderator only if your literature said so. You cannot just assume based on your extensive readings. There must be support from literature who says that this construct can be used as what or cannot be used as what. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, the second thing here, these slides, okay, I will convert it into PDF. Okay, and then I will give it to you. So please share not only among yourself in the kuliah, but please also share with your friends in other kuliah if they might find this helpful. Okay, so I regard this as my way of sharing my tacit knowledge of the using statistics metrics. So hopefully that Allah will ease me in other aspects in my life. Okay, as much as
Inshallah.
as much as it
Yeah.
will help you in your study. All right. Okay. So thank you to Dr. Zura. Thank you to Dr. Mom. I was so glad, okay, hearing from your feedback just now, and thank you to all students who participate this morning. All right.
Jazakumullah khair. Jazakumullah
Okay.
khair.
So we are here to help you as best as we can. We are here to basically disseminate the knowledge that we have. If you have any other, say, topics that you want me to find people who can talk to it with you, please do tell me. We do have the next one, I think, is with Prof. Azhar, and he's going to talk about publication. Then we will also have another one with, after Prof. Azhar, is going to be Dr. Suhaimi. He's going to be talking about Viva. How do you prepare for a Viva, and what are the examiners expecting from a Viva? Okay,
It's very
so
important.
thank you. Yeah, very important. So thank you very much. So we will close this session.
Okay.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to you guys who participate as well. I hope it benefited you a lot. Okay.
Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Fariza, tunggu jap.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
The rest of you can go. There's so many people who are here, but they're not here.
Yeah. Even my supervisors are not here. They said they're going to be available. Fine. I will ask them later.
Well, we can only provide water. We cannot make the horses drink, you know.
Exactly. But they
I mean,
haven't. They are not thirsty yet, Kak Zura. That's why they're not drinking. They're not thirsty yet. They haven't done this limited. They're not thirsty
you
yet.
have a time period in doing this. Why do you want to spend like 5, 6 years doing a PhD when you can actually do it in 3 years? That's my thinking. I don't know. People face a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So many people who's supposed to be here, they're not here. Kejap.
Methodology. Someone asking us about whether there's a session about, but they have already research method class, right?
That's
What?
that's the thing. They're not using
Yeah,
it. Kejap,
they have already the methodology.
kejap.
Have you stopped recording?
I'm trying to ask them to kejap. Saya removing people.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
If you were on campus, I would have kidnapped you out, you know. You can go eat somewhere.
I haven't been there for quite some time because kan case around my area kan teruk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you know Indra, right?
Yeah, yeah.
His mother passed away because of COVID-19.
On how recent was that? When was that?
The day before yesterday.
MashaAllah, he's in his country, right? He's in his country?
Yes.
He is at what stage currently, Indra? He's at
chapter 6.
Oh, he's finishing
chapter 6
already.
is discussion.
Oh. That is very sad. I mean, quite similar to what I experienced before because you are already at the ending stage of your thesis and you lost the person who support you the most.
Yeah, because he's doing this because of his mother.
Yeah.
So I didn't. Zai told me that he wrote on his Facebook kata mak dia dapat COVID. And I didn't realize that. So bila I tanya dia, I didn't realize mother dia dah meninggal. Dia kata mother dia baru meninggal semalam. So the day before lah, yesterday was Wednesday. So it was Tuesday lah mother dia meninggal. So dia kata it's like memang apa ni? It's, you know, Indonesia kan dia orang tak kisah kan.
Ya Allah, yes.
So I was gonna say.
So how about, I mean, Indra himself, is he in the I mean, a good state? I mean, maybe physically or mentally, we don't know, right? So how is he?
Well, ask him whether he wants to take leave of absence. Dia kata dia tak nak. Dia nak habiskan because this is what his mother wanted. So cakap memang you akan habiskan, you know, but I'm not going to talk to him lagi lah. Maybe next 2 weeks kot baru call dia.
It's too recent.
So which goes back to that issue, why not there? I think, you know, tak boleh lah, my parents are elderly. I don't care what other people are saying.
Yes.
You know, rentas desa, rentas desa. I don't really care.
Yeah, because you're saying with them. Yeah, and then you have no symptom. You might even, I mean, you don't know where you're gonna get it. Auntie is already got on your parents, so nobody want to risk that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you? Memang tak boleh rentas desa lah ni
You know what? Memang tak boleh. So last night I had a video call from my brother and my sister-in-law because kan pasal sekolah sekarang Kak Zura. So dia kata semalam, Ja, abang tak tahu bahasa Arab ni. Because it turns out, okay, so the teacher of their children kan bagi kerja sekolah dalam bahasa Arab. So dia kata, so macam it's just a picture and then macam Arabic word kat bawah kan. So abang tanya lah, Ja, ini maksudnya cikgu ke cikgu besar ke apa ni? So because he need to teach my anak saudara. So this is the picture, dia pun tak tahu itu gambar cikgu ke guru besar. So he doesn't know what mu'alim or mu'alimah means. So imagine how he's going to teach his children things that he don't even know what is it. So he asked me in the video call. So I was like, takkan dah budak baru darjah 1 Kak Zura has already been taught about bahasa Arab when during my time it was in my sekolah menengah kot bawa belajar bahasa Arab. Ini budak apa ni alif bata pun tak clear lagi. Baca Iqra pun tak baca, dia nak belajar bahasa Arab Kak Zura. So I was like, oh my God, this is the struggle of the parents these days. Kesian tau.
Kesian, budak dia darjah 1 lah.
Darjah 1, already been given bahasa Arab syllabus. I was like, oh
God, it's so pity budak darjah 1. They're missing out a big element. Schooling can teach them how to socialize dengan other
Ya
people.
Allah Kak Zura, my second anak saudara kan yang adik kepada yang si kakak ni, so he supposed to go to dia punya kindergarten this year, memang langsung tak pergi, dan even setakat Google Meet, what do you expect, the same thing like looking at the phone, no socialization at all, kesian tau benda macam tu kat budak.
Itulah, that means that dia orang punya soft skill tu akan terencat, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Their
yes.
soft skill will be affected. Kita punya student pun apa kurangnya? Budak undergraduate sama lah, yang tak ada motivation lah, yang tak ada tu lah, tak ada ni lah.
Itulah, so yalah, we hope that this pandemic will end quite soon. Tapi itu pun sebab I read somewhere that it might take maybe like 7 years also.
Yeah, because of the variation, because of the mutation. Yes.
So that means Kak Zura, you won't be coming to campus until when? I don't know.
I think it's until 4th of March lah kot.
Oh, until the semester starts.
Semester start, bila the MCO ends tu, I will come. Selagi is the MCO, I'm not gonna risk it lah sebab travel quite far kan.
Okay.
Although I am bored to tears. I would like to change my surrounding. Sometimes I just miss the traveling, you know.
Yeah, I understand. Yes.
And then pergi ke macam bila I go to you know, when I want to go when I want to go somewhere, when I don't feel like coming back, I go to KL Central and I go to New Central, jalan for 5-10 minutes, lepas tu baru take the train back, you know, at least mata ni tak ada jemu.
You get to, bukan nak beli apa pun, just nak window shopping just to see people.
Yeah, I'm really bored to death because of that.
Itulah, the reason I ask because kan this Sunday is my birthday, 31st of February.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Assalamualaikum,
Doctor.
I have to stop the YouTube, right?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Sorry to interrupt. I see in YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I forgot.
Yeah. Please stop.
Thank you for letting us know. Other we might be talking bad about you on YouTube.
Okay. We got already some of your discussion.
Oh my God, seriously.
We haven't seen everybody in what do you call that? We haven't seen each other in a long time.
Yeah.